Hello, everyone. Welcome to the review crew here on Sea of Tranquility. I am your host, Jamie Laszlo. We got a small crew today, a little bit of a smaller crew, but that's all right. We have today Mr. Rick Labonte, Mr. Scott Berry, and Mr. George Lamie. Four-man crew today. So we're going to go around. We're going to go around twice. There's some new releases out there that we want to talk about that we either want to rave about or say they're eh. We'll give you our opinion on them. But there was a big new release over the last couple of weeks, and we want to get to that first because I don't think even Pete's reviewed it yet here on Sea of Tranquility. New Black Crows came out. I was excited to get it, and I know Rick's a big fan. So tell us what you think of that new Black Crows.
Well, right on. It's been a long time coming. As you know, they've been had a big break for a long time, and not too long ago, about around 2018, I believe it was, the brothers got a chance to patch up some things and bury a hatchet or whatever, and life is actually pretty good for Chris Robinson. He got married and things are going, and started to have a whole new outlook. And so he wanted to rebuild relationships, and he did that with his brother. And so they went out there, a new form of Black Crows, and basically tore the first album as an anniversary, and ultimately you will get a live album from that. And then why I'm bringing that up, because I do believe playing this helped them shape what we got here today. Because that whole vibe of this first album is well present here.
Got the juices flowing again.
Yeah, exactly. And they also, if you see the show, the Black Crowes were always famous for changing the set list. This was the first time where they had to stay at least 1 hour doing the same show top to bottom. Then they take a break and come back and do some of the greatest hits or whatever they felt like doing. But they made sure it was always high energy to match what they did from the first album, right? And so this would be the first time you had some original music in 2009, but it wasn't the last time they were recording. They did do the 1972 EP. It's sort of an Amazon Music kind of get them to they give us something new. It's one thing to be touring, your gold album or platinum album, whatever. It's a big selling album for them. But let's what else you have. And so they went kind of flashback. And I want to bring this up because it's important because this is an EP. It's only got a handful of tunes and it's all covers. So anyway, going to this record, I think that vibe of those recording, kind of working with this new band, as far as the rhythm session, well, the drummer and the keyboard player and the other guitar player, but they still had that bass player who's been around since By Your Side, if not a little longer. And so they put out this record, and just as you expected, Black Crowes come out, that the whole thing that you like about the swagger, rock, all the riffing, the gospel or soulful chorus that they put in, what they already know. In fact, I would argue that 8 or 9 out of eight, or maybe 9 songs out of the 10 songs could easily fit in one of those albums that they did. It felt like it's such a perfect Black Crowes formula. That song would gonna work no matter what album you put it out. In fact, somebody could have said, "Hey man, these are the songs are like Coda's, Led Zeppelin's leftover material." You would have believed it because it feels like a timeless Black Crowes type of song all through there, where you can see it coming on to Lions or War Paint or the second album or the third album, some of these songs. But before I get into the music, let's talk about the packaging. No, I don't put a whole lot of stock because anybody knows me. I never judge an album by its cover, just like I don't do that with people. But I gotta say, this does bother me a little bit as a thumbnail. Like if you just see that, where's the Black Crowes? It's on the other side. There's no clue,
Hey,
right?
Rick,
Yes,
look
sir.
deeper.
Well,
If
I
you
know
look
there's a.
deeper, it's the front cover of
Oh
the
yes,
second
yes
album.
it is. I was gonna about to say that. It's been white out and it's graffiti. So I'm cool,
Yeah.
I get it.
Okay.
Maybe the OCD meme would like everything in the proper writing order. That's just me.
Okay.
But the
Also had a
idea
hype
is
sticker on it.
being digital world though, it doesn't tell anybody that it's the Black Crowes, right? And I think if they just had a little crow on sitting on the words or something like that, would be cool. That's all I'm saying. But you open it up and then you have trust us, never trust us, and this doesn't have the playlist to tell you what songs are what on here, which is something that, for me, I would like that in the middle at least. But if you're not gonna do it, they still give it to you. In fact, they put more art in the sleeve. If you look inside, there's like skulls and stuff, and it's interesting that they put more art inside than they do on the front. But again, I never judge an album by its cover. Look at Led Zeppelin 4. So anyway, but they put all these lyrics in there, and it like, just like a normal lead singer would write on a napkin. If he gets an idea, you write on it. Kind of gives you that vibe, and I appreciate it. But folks, make sure you got one of these, okay? You need this to read it. Maybe even light,
Oh yeah.
because they're black and white and it's kind of blurry. And I already have eyesight issues, but I don't think anybody, even with glasses, can see some of this without this. But it is kind of artsy, you know how they are. And then you get that skull that you see in the sleeve is actually in the centerpiece of that. And if you want to know who plays on the record, here it is, the band right here. So it's a great record, and it's the people that we saw touring. In fact, I got their names just to share everybody who we're talking about here, because the Black Crowes, in the discography, Jamie and I done the rankings before. They had personnel changes throughout. That they had the drummer for the longest time, almost every album. And I noticed he's not on that record, because you hear him so many times, you kind of got to know his style. But the band is a good band. Black Crow, the Robinson brothers wouldn't play anybody else that couldn't do their stuff. But check it out. I couldn't pronounce Nico's name, so I thought I'd put it out there to be careful. Because, I'm a Labante. You know how many people say Labante? So I respect the person's name. I had to make sure it's available. There's also Eric, who plays on keyboards, and we got Brian Griffin on drums. And these are the new backup singers. We got Vicky, Joanna, and Robert. And so, but they also have a special guest, and I'll get to that soon. There's a country singer. Her name is Lamie Wilson, I believe. So let me get into it. The only thing I gotta say, because I'm a fan, so I listened to all Chris Robinson interviews and so forth. I learned they basically had a bunch of songs, gave it to Joyce, as a producer, and he picked the best that he thought would to work with. And they would do a couple of different versions, mid-tempo, fasten it up, whatever. Jam these songs out, flesh out the idea. But the whole thing took about 2.5 weeks. So it wasn't like, they wanted to overproduce it. They just wanted to be like what they were doing here. They were performing these things live, so they kind of wanted to treat it that way as well. And so going forward, they put out, again, 10 tracks, and let's talk about them real quick. Bedside Manner, very much of a rocker, comes out of the gate kicking ass with sliding guitars and stuff. Very much like a Rolling Stones slash Faces kind of style is what they've been always known for. And that's a little bit of Shake Your Money Maker influence in the DNA. And watching those crowd jump up and down with that energy type of song, they delivered another one. With a soulful chorus is what you always expect out of them. Rats and Clowns is like another version of Sting Me in a way. Good energy, good rocker. And again, the way it's mixed, you hear all the separation of everybody. Almost like a live feel where you can separate who's on the left, who's on the right. So you can almost visual them playing. That's what I like about the mix of this album. Cross Your Fingers, very much like anything you expect on a Black Crowes album. You have acoustic intro, like Sister Luck or She Talked to Angel kind of thing, but then they pick it up and rock it out. Really good riff and rama here. They really go into a rock mode. So it's pretty interesting. Now the next track is what most of the world heard, whether they're going to TV shows from Jimmy Fallon to whatever. They've been performing Waiting and Wanting. And right off the gate, when I heard it, I thought it would sound like a cousin to Jealous Again, like the verse. And then the chorus had Be by your side kind of flavor, the chorus. It's almost like two tunes. But where they put it in the tracking really works in this record. It may be the first one and you're going, okay, that sounds like the Black Crowes, but are they carbon copying their own stuff? To some degree, you might thought that, but when you hear the album in the whole and where it sits, you look forward to it. It's really good. It's a good track. I always thought it was a good track. I'm just saying I've already heard the similarity in the other songs, but that's the Black Crowes style. And so you got the Black Crowes tune, but it's like a cousin to Jealous Again, really up tempo. Then you get Wilted Rose, which is a beautiful ballad, very similar to Cursed Diamond and many other good song that they had where you feature vocals and voice and a little bit of drama and they do that well. And then all these songs are relatively short. They're not really long. They don't overstay their welcome to most cases. And Dirty Cold Sun, another great groove, great keyboard. Chris is kicking ass, singing his ass off, and with the soulful chorus, it's what you expect. And then the little tip in the hat to the blues with the Bleed It Dry. With the Black Crowes style blues, of course, with a slide guitar and a lot of vocals and extraordinary slide playing and good harmonica playing. As a harmonica player myself, I enjoyed hearing what he had to do, and it's going to be a good feature to see that live, for sure. The next tune is the only tune that was kind of like a grower for me, where every song that I mentioned so far hit me right away, guys. It was catchy. You couldn't help it. Like I said, it could have fit in any one of these albums. It was a safe, good rock song, no matter what. It was guaranteed to make people tap their toes and stuff. Was the next one called Flesh Wound, because it starts off with the drum, and if you heard it, George, you would say the beat would start off like a punk beat or a country hold down. And it got a little bit of both in there. They rocked it out with a guitar, but they had the kind of country thing going on. And it lasts for about 2 minutes. And this was a little bit of a proggy thing for them because they will end with a nice little piano bit. And then they do this gang chant unison thing. Not the part that took me a while to get used to, because that's the only time I felt for the 30 seconds of that song, didn't feel like Black Crow. And I believe this is a producer's stamp on the getting involved in their songwriting here, because that's the only part. But then it comes right back to Return to Form with Follow the Moon, kicks ass, something that could come off the second record for sure, or Amorica. It just had that catchy riff and rocking, and it's one of my favorites. And then they end the album, which is not one of my favorite things to do. They end the album with a ballad, which is a beautiful ballad, I might say. It's an epic, beautiful all stop to it.
It would have worked better in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, but it was at the end. And so my issue with that was that ultimately the album ends at 37 minutes. I felt they needed one more tune. And for me, who like even numbers, give me 12 songs. Okay? But I would have, and why I brought this up is because they must have had some other cover that they didn't do on this record that they can throw on it for good measure. Mind you, all the songs are written by the Robinson brothers, so that's kind of nice when we waited this long to have everything written by them, no outside writers or whatever. But the reality is it was 37 minutes, guys. And to me, I always felt an EP 30 minutes. Give me 45, you know? And so to me, that affects the grade of the record. Not because it's not a great record. Honestly, could have been a 5 out of 5 known with the Black Crowes. But I'm giving a 4.5 because I wanted a little bit more. And I felt it was a little, they could have given us another tune or two.
All right.
37 minutes go by really fast. And I'm a guy that listens to long albums as it is, and I don't have that short attention span. But to end on a ballad, I would have liked them to come out with, I mean, if you listen to the first record, they had a cover. If you listen to the second album, they had a cover. They closed with a cover, Bob Marley tune. They put a B.B. King tune on the fourth record. I mean, they could have threw in a number if they didn't have anything else to offer, but ultimately, I'm glad. I'm a happy camper. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy that they put out this record. As a fan, I've waited for this. And is it worth the wait? And if this ended up being the last record they did, they went out on a good note. I mean, this is a good way to wrap it up if you do. And I hope they don't. I believe there's still more gas in the tank, and there's still, by having a taste of this, if they get addicted to their happiness that they're having, like bastards, they'll maybe have a good time and continue. But I have to say, it would have been a 5 out of 5 if I had a 40 minute or 45-minute Black Crow to me. That's the only thing. I don't care about the artwork, which I do have a couple of
Right.
issues. But other than that, that's the only thing I could say. What do you guys think?
I'm a fan. I like it. Like
I
it.
like it too.
I
It's
like what I'm
great.
hearing. I think to me, it's just the right length to me. I don't
Yeah.
think there's really anything wasted here. Nothing seems over long. It has a good flow to it. I'm happy with it, pretty
Yeah.
much as it is. I mean, I'd probably go about 4.5 myself, but
Mhm. Well, I remember getting
don't
that
get me
album
wrong.
from Dirty Honey, and I felt that was like we got ripped off. It was too quick. It was going too by. It was short, and knowing that these guys had apparently they wrote a lot of songs. This guy just picked the 10. I'm sure they had some more they could. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, because I did want more, and I guess that's a good thing to have. You actually really you did well as an album. If I still want more.
Better to be wanting more than saying, okay, I've had way too much of that, you know.
Absolutely, and I agree with that.
Always leave them wanting more. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm excited to play it this summer by the pool. I
First
think it's
rule
gonna
of
be great.
showbiz.
But anyway, thumbs up to that album. I guess you guys all agree. For those who've heard it, it's really outstanding. It's good to see them come back to the form. And this is truly a Black Crow sound, right? I think you can agree that most of these songs are going to work great live.
All right. Scott, what you got?
Very cool. Well, um, great to be here. Thanks for having me. My first pick is by a pretty well-established blues rock guitarist and vocalist. He's from the Austin area. And I don't know, maybe you've heard of him. His name's Gary Clark Jr.
Right on.
And this is his latest release called JPEG Raw. And that title is actually an acronym. It stands for Jealousy, Pride, Envy, Greed, Rules, Alter Ego, and World. And apparently these are all themes within the album's lyrics. And while much of his music in the past was pretty steeped in the blues, I'd say gradually he's been sort of branching out away from, I mean, he's still, everything he does has got that blues in it, but he's kind of branching out into other areas. So you could hear that right off the bat. And includes funk, soul, hip hop, hard rock. It's just a nice little mix of things, a little jazz here and there. Um, and while he definitely has many influences, I don't think he ever sounds too derivative of any one artist, and he tends to put his own stamp as a guitarist, a singer, a songwriter, on pretty much everything he does. And the album opens with the hard rocker Maktub, and that one they seem to be kind of pushing right now. It's got kind of an African beat to it and some heavy guitar, and it just scorches. And from there, he just seamlessly transitions to an R&B hip hop flavored track titled "Don't." That it's the title track, JPEG Raw, and the third one, "Don't Start," that continues in that hard rocking vein and features shared vocals with Valerie June. This leads into the very ominous sounding "This Is Who We Are." That one's getting a little bit of play too out there. I've heard it a few times. And it's a great hard rock, hip hop sort of hybrid. And I'm generally not a big hip hop guy, but I'd say if more hip hop kind of sounded like this, I'd probably listen to it more often. And he kind of slows things down a bit on "To the End of the Earth," which is a short little piece with some beautiful jazz guitar, and that transitions directly into "Alone Together," which has a muted trumpet in it. It sounds very much like classic Miles Davis, and it continues that jazzy vein from "To the End of the Earth." And Kevin Harold is the trumpeter on that track. It's got a nice little R&B feel to it too. Next one is What About the Children? And that one sounds like it could have been a soul hit from the 70s or 80s. And that probably has something to do with the fact that Stevie Wonder is a guest on the track, singing, playing clavinet and harmonica. And they sound great together. I really like that track. And then he kind of amps up the guitar again on Hearts in Retrograde, which is another barn burner, a great guitar. It's got a great guitar solo closeout. That leads into Hyperwave, which is a nice little R&B pop infused piece. Funk With You is a duet with funk legend George Clinton, and that just smokes. Triumph is a very uplifting soul ballad, and on this track, I'd say the backup singers really earned their pay on this one, and closes with some beautiful piano. And the album closes out with a 9-minute, it's sort of a sweet Habit. And I'd say it's kind of an introspective piece. It's almost a little proggy. It's got, several tempo changes, and last 3 minutes is some of Gary's best guitar work, I'd say. And it's just a great way to finish off a pretty excellent album.
He's a good player.
Oh, he's a hell of a player. And right now, I'd probably give this about a 4.5 out of 5. But and I've heard it about 7 or 8 times now, and it's definitely getting in. I'm getting into it a lot, but it could go up. And this is one I've kind of really been looking forward to, and it's definitely delivered the goods for me. So far, I mean, he's done 4 albums, and he hasn't disappointed me yet. I've pretty much liked them all.
I gotta get that one because I want to see him in May. I got tickets to see him.
Yeah, I haven't bought tickets yet, but my wife and I are planning to go see him.
Playing at the Fillmore in Detroit, so I better get caught up.
But,
I got those other albums.
I would say I have not heard anybody mix so many styles and genres like this so seamlessly and so successfully since Prince. I mean, he's the only one I can think of that's really pulled that off on this kind of level. And I think there's just a bit of something here for everybody. Even if he might not be immediately the kind of music you listen to, I think there might be something in there for you.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. All right, cool. God, it's great. It's great to have you back on, and I know it's been a while, and you finally get back on Sea of Tranquility, and you get dumb old me hosting. I know, sucks. But I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best to make it whatever. George, what do you got to talk about?
My first one is a band called Turbulence. Album's called Binary Dream. This is the 3rd album from these guys. They're from that hotbed of progressive metal, Lebanon.
Progressive metal, they love their circles on those album covers.
I was gonna point that out to you.
But that's cool though. It looked great.
I find they have their own sound, but everyone has influences. I guess theirs are like Haken, Leprous, Dream Theater, Pain of Salvation with the vocals, I think. Stuff like that. The musicians aren't really Flash players, but I would point out the drummer and the vocalist as the strong standout guys in this band. It opens with one of them short intro pieces that I usually hate, like a minute and change. This one's good. It's developed, there's a real structure to it, and that leads seamlessly into the song called Theta, which is one of my favorite tunes on the album, maybe my favorite. Then they repeat that short intro into longer song thing, but they do it with instrumentals. So there's 2 instrumentals that blend. Honestly, these 4 songs could be 2 songs, because if you're not watching the counter, you're not even going to know that there's another song started. That's how it is.
I hate when they do that.
Yeah, I don't get it. Why are you doing that? Just make
What's
it
the
one.
point of that?
I mean, it's a 9-song album, so are they trying to make it like, they don't want to have a 7-song album? I don't know. Yeah, so track 5 is a ballad called Ternary. I think it's the second video from the album. The more cheap one, it's just one of those lyric videos. Then you get the 14-minute title track. You get the prog metal staple. You got to have the 14-minute title track.
Oh,
That's a good
Of
tune.
course.
Yeah, a lot of sections, some ethnic guitar, and some kind of ethnic instrument in the middle that sounds like guitar, but probably isn't. I'm not sure what it is. Track 7 is Hybrid, which is an unusual spot for the first video single, which that was like a production video that kind of looks like it's got some budget in it. So that's one to check out if someone wanted to check out a track. But that again is one of my favorite tunes. You got another ballad that follows that before it closes with a short instrumental, kind of an unsatisfying closer. It's like 3 minutes and change, and not a lot happening in it. It's kind of like a take you off the album kind of a thing. The album is self-produced and it sounds fantastic. I don't know what their budget is like. They're on Frontiers, so I don't know what their deals usually are, but they got a lot of good sounding product on that label. I have the last album. That was like a top 10 for me that year. And I think Butch Jones had it in his top 10 too. First one I've never heard, but this one, I'm gonna give it 4 stars. This is quality stuff. Rick, it's right up your alley. You should check it out.
I'm gonna.
But anybody that likes good prog metal should check it out.
Sound good.
good. I like a couple of those bands you mentioned.
Yeah, it's right in that pocket.
All right, cool. Well, hey, you missed that show. It's all about the fuzz. Remember that show? Not you guys, but you out there watching. People complain, I'm going to miss it. It's all about the fuzz. I'm going to bring some fuzz today. A couple times. So I'm going to talk about early moods. Pete just reviewed this on Wednesday. I'm going to review it again because I want to talk about it too. Formed 2005 in Los Angeles, California. What do they play? They play doom metal, and the release date of A Sinner's Past was March 8th. And I am seeing them on April 4th. In fact, I was just at the venue a few weeks ago. I saw a Kinks cover band, and they had 2 of these on the bulletin board side by side. I'm like, they don't need 2 side by side. We got 2 eyes, but we only need 1 poster. So I stole one and took it home with me.
So you did him a favor.
Right. People rip those off those walls all the time anyways. I just beat someone to it.
You're performing a service.
So they do have an EP called Spellbound, which is like 25 minutes long. And then a couple years ago, they did a self-titled album. This is good. This is better. This is the best one yet. So what you got here is, let me get my shit together. Your basic doom metal sound. That's what starts a lot of these songs, like track 1, Last Hour, track 2, Blood Offerings. Right when I heard the first track and then the second track, I said, normally these bands kind of smooth out their sound as they progress. They get a little bit more accessible, the production a little bit more slicker. They doomed the doom up on the third release, if you want to call it third release, with the EP. It's a little bit dingier, dirtier. The vocals are more doomy, dare I say. Then you have Sinner's Past, and you got that doom going on. Then all of a sudden they start doing an Iron Maiden gallop, and then the guitar solos come in, and that's the magic of this album. A lot of these songs start off doomy, and then the second half just kill it. And when these solos come in, they got 2 guitars too. So when you get that twin guitar attack on these solos, it's like, it's just bliss. I feel like they were just in the studio and they're like, we're here. We're in the studio. We have our instruments. We know how to play them. Why don't we just play the fuck out of them? And that's what they did. They played the hell out of these fucking, the solos are so awesome. Unhinged Spirit, great. The Apparition. Yeah, that's probably my least favorite, but it's all right. Walpurgis is really good too, and it follows that blueprint of Doomy, then big solo at the end. But the last two songs, Hell's Odyssey and Soul Sorcery, I haven't heard anything that rocks that hard yet this year. Those two songs are next level. I can't wait to hear them in a week. And when I hear those songs, man, and I just think, God, this is magic. I'm playing it for the wife and she's loving it. And I'm thinking, my dad, my mom, they asked me, Jamie, why do you put so much work into these videos you're always doing? You're not, especially dad, you ain't getting paid for that shit, are you? No, Dad, it's a labor of love. And when I hear these songs, it reminds me why I do it. I was always the kid in high school and the 20-something in college who listened to the music that maybe other people didn't know that well. And I was always trying to introduce it to them. All right. I didn't have the internet, but I was trying to do it word of mouth. Now I have the internet. I'm just doing the same fucking thing now that I was doing then. And this shit gets me excited when I hear these type of songs. And I'm glad I have like the internet in this channel to do that with. So go out and just YouTube Hell's Odyssey and Soul Sorcery by Early Moods and wait for those blistering solos at the end. Now the report card, no matter what Louis Nasser might say, music is not math. All right. It's not math. So, I'm not going to give everything an A all the time. If everything's an A, nothing's an A. All right. B's are very fucking good. Very good. A's are like, you got to reserve something for something. Songwriting B+. Very good songs. Interchangeable at times. These songs are just beds for the riffs, big monstrous riffs and guitar solos to lie in. They do their part. They do them well. Production, B. Sometimes I wish the vocals were a little bit higher in the mix, but it gives it that doomy, dingy feel that they're going for. I get it. Musicianship, A. B for the vocals, because it's just your basic, doom vocals like Candlemass or early Witchcraft or anything like that. Pentagram. Packaging, F. I'll tell you why. Because you look in the back and the song Unhinged Spirit is listed twice. The bottom here and then up there. And then they leave a song off. What song did they leave off? It's not Blood Offerings, isn't even listed here. And then the order is messed up from the CD from here. It's still yet, if you download it from Bandcamp, that order is different from the CD and of course here. So it's a mishmash of bullshit. They're on what jokey record label are they on? Riding Easy. They need to get picked up, like Pete said, by Ripple or something like that. A label that won't fuck up the order of the songs on the back. So yeah, this might say B+, B, A, B, but it's probably a solid A album for sure. It'll be in my top 10 for the year. It's a long way to go, I know, and there's a lot of releases coming, but if it's in my top 10, I won't be surprised. I'll just put it that way. So, Rick, we're back to you.
It is a long way to go, though.
It is a long way to go. That's pretty stellar. Monkey 3 is up there too so far. So
That's cool that you have the report card.
Okay.
So my next one is and kind of a piggyback to our brother George. He did a great review on this record, Whom God Destroy. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because like the way he began is the only way I could begin, is to say that the project for Art of Anarchy was like this one, was from the ashes of Son of Apollo, that everything that this band is no longer happening due to the fact, which is good news, Mike is back with Dream Theater, and this great band that I come to love, and I got the chance to see them before they COVID, stopped the rest of the tour for them. I saw them in Toronto and they were amazing. I got to meet them. They were great. And so I was really keen on seeing what they were going to come up in the future. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. But Bumblefoot had made friends with these guys. So as George was talking, he shared it with Derek, who was in that band, and they wanted to work together and put a whole new band together. And it's an amazing. And Derek wrote a copy for me. He's actually producing one of my songs today. But Bumblefoot also has a relationship with Jeff Scott Soto from the lead singer. So he got talking. They had some songs in it that they were writing for possibly third Son of Apollo album. And so here's what the cast of characters here, just so you know, it's still a super group. But what's different is you don't have Mike, and you don't have Billy Sheehan, you don't have Derek, that's Sons of Apollo. But what you do have is the Valda brothers. John is the founder of this band. In fact, I learned that there were 2 albums before this, and it's the third is a charm to have Jeff on there. But it's interesting to know the first album was done with Scott Weiland from STP, and then Stone Temple Pilot, that is. And then the singer from Creed did the second album, Scott Staps, I think it is named, and he did the second record. So they get Jeff coming in as kind of a newbie, and so is the bass player, Tony Dickinson. What is interesting, which I should point out, Jeff Tate is a guest doing a voice pretending to be like a news broadcaster. He's the ex-singer from Queensway. So anyway, let's talk about this. First of all, the packaging is good. Like everything on it about the packaging is fantastic. The artwork is typically progressive metal, guys. There's no question about it. And I'm going to take this off so I can see this more. All right. So the artwork is great. They make great t-shirts, what they had in there. You can see the guys signed them last night. I saw them last night at the Token Lounge at the Westland, Michigan. And they were great. We hang out for a bit and talked. Me and Ron talked for a while. But great booklet with all the lyrics. You know, unlike the mystery we get with the Black Rose I was showing you about, they were pretty given and eye-friendly too. I can read this. I don't need the magnifying glass. So we're good over here. Great pictures, great booklet. It's a full thing. And another thing I can say about this record, it's 52 minutes long. I'm cool with that. But let's talk about the material. They open up just like, by the way, when I saw them last night, they played the whole album except the one song, Bridge of Tomorrow, which is one of my favorite, but they're all good. If you are into progressive metal music and you do like, the kind of stuff that we were showing, what George was showing, you're going to like these guys. And what's interesting and what I learned later is that when I was hearing it for the first time, I thought, being a 5-piece band, they got a keyboard player, but turned out it's just 2 guitar players. In fact, some of the strings are actually Bumblefoot putting on a chorus pedal and playing these singular notes because I watched them do it. And it sounds like orchestration and string while the other guy's kicking out doing the rhythm. They're both rhythm and lead guitar players all through. And this is what makes a unique prog, because even though they give you twin guitars like you love, like Iron Maiden does and Thin Lizzy, those stuff, but they also separate themselves where one person can have guitar full of effect that it sounds like a keyboard player was in the band almost. It's really cool how they do it. I gotta tell you, it's pretty fascinating. But they start with the album just like they did with the show. Great opener, and I don't blame them. And it's the only time I ever felt like this might be something from a Sons of Apollo vein, because it was written for, a possible album. And Die Hard, really good song. And one of the things I did learn that this is the band effort. Other than this bass player who came in near the tail end, the 2 brothers, John and Vince, the drummer and the guitar player, and then you had Bumblefoot and Jeff. They wrote all this. So you hear that in these songs because there's so much to it, so adventurous. There's so many changes in it that somebody say, hey, I got an idea. Somebody got it this far. Somebody say, hey, I think I got something for that, because it meshed, and watching them play this live with so much passion and having a ball. I mean, you'd think the title of the band would be like a punk and evil faces and that, but there's just a bunch of guys having a great time, showing off that they got this gift that they can pull this off. I mean, the stellar performers. I mean, they really can play. And so great guitar solos between the two dual lead, great choruses that Jeff would always do. And that song opens with a 7:30 minutes, but it goes by fast because it's such an adventurous song. Moving on, also ends with a great scream from Jeff, showing you that side of his voice of it being metal, he can show that off. They went to Echo Your Madness, which got a lot of great dynamics. And that's one thing I really love about the explosive riff and thundering. They can come down really calm and get you back up there. There's so much dynamic and so much drama that you couldn't help it. And it goes by fast. These songs go really quick because of all what they pack into individual songs. One of my favorite is Vilified, and he had a big long talk about COVID and gave us, saw some of the darkest things in people. And I do believe that he kind of gave us a little bit of hope that there's a lesson to be learned through all this madness that we've been going through. And it's a great song. And that's the one with Jeff Tate is doing a voiceover, look like a broadcast of some news thing, and the song goes in there with nice guitar, and it comes into a real epic tune. Bridge of Tomorrow is another great song that is really so catchy that it's prog metal, but it's almost on the verge of pop because the chorus is so good and so ear candy that even metal fans might like that song just because it's a good song. And then they did what is another single called Writing on the Wall, another barn burner kick-ass rock tune, guitar crunching, catchy choruses. That's one thing Jeff does a lot. He does a lot of different vocal approaches and verses, but the chorus is always going to be that magnificent big thing that you wait for. Probably the most ear candy part of the song is always the chorus. You're looking forward to it. It's coming around the corner. You wait till you get there. Then the next three, like Rival, Blind Man, Victory, Dying Days, shows you what the metal is all about. They brings out all the metal in their playing, from how they are as a rhythm section, as they are as guitar players. Such a great progressively arranged. I think you guys really dig it if you get a chance. One of the highlights of the tour, and I mean the show last night as well as the album, is the good, bad, and the ugly. Starts off with Ron doing something that we just hear in a spaghetti western, right? Some Spanish like kind of guitar going on, and then before you know it, it kicks in with some great vocal, and that whole song becomes very adventurous and shows off every member of the band. It's like they show, if you want to sum up the band quickly, you don't have to hear the whole album, just hear individual songs. You kind of get the whole album, or you get at least the band. Because that's what I think they do. They made room for everybody. Yes was kind of like that, right? But Yes wrote songs. They made room for every player in a song like Heart of the Sunrise or Roundabout. Everybody got a spotlight. They do that too in the songwriting. And then closing the record with Disarray, which kind of got a spooky thing. And I thought it was keyboard, hearing it from my ears, but I watched it live. John was playing with some cool effect on the guitar that sounded like some orchestration synthesized stuff, but it had a real spooky, probably the most evil song to have on the record that got scary a little bit, and it rocks. And but again, great album closer. If you're gonna close a record knowing that the way they placed the listen, they did it right, and it ends at 52. And I gotta tell you, Bumblefoot mixed it and mastered this album. So this guy's not only a talented songwriter, great backup vocalist, great player, but he did a good job in engineering. And I will give this a 4.5 for sure. Easy. And I've only had it for a short time, for about maybe 3 weeks, versus I think this album is one of those albums that grows on you even more. You appreciate it because I know what they're all about, right? I understand, and they got a formula about them, and I kind of, but yeah, I really like them on the first listen, and the more I listen to it, the more I hear the choruses when I shut off the car, and the song still continue in my head. That's how you know you got a good record, when the song still continue after shutting it off, and you almost want to go put it back on.
Yeah, I
Very
I have
true.
a Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Oh, cool.
I love it.
I can't remember where I found it, but I picked it up.
That's awesome.
Do you have this, George?
No, I got the
Okay.
first one with Wyland, and that's not progressive at all. It's like a alt rock, alt metal album. It's good, but
Okay.
Sounds interesting.
Well, they did play a couple tunes from the first two records, and from a sample of each record, and they were pretty good enough to. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try to hunt them down. It's hard to get the one first album, but I got it off eBay, and the second one's available, so I'm gonna get it just for the completion of it. But I gotta tell you guys, Bumblefoot Ron, he never ceased to amaze me. He's a really talented guy, and watching Jeff, like I always love his performance. I love the way as a frontman, he's one of my heroes, and he really did a good job. And you know what? I don't know. I think this might be the best of the three. I have to hear it all, but I can't. If you know, this is an amazing record to top. They did a good job. I hope they continue. That's all I'm hoping. I hope this is not just a flash in a pan like the Sons of Apollo.
Ooh,
Sounds pretty good.
all right, Scott, what you got?
All right, sir. Well, now I'd like to talk about an up-and-coming sort of blues rock guitarist and singer, also based in Austin. I'm a little embarrassed because I had to be referred to him by Pete Pardo all the way from New York, when this guy is practically in my backyard.
Wow.
Pete messaged. Sorry, go ahead.
I said, oh wow. That's all.
That's okay. You know how many times I've been turned on about Canadian bands I didn't even know about, and
Oh.
most of you guys have got me into
Oh,
about.
Canada is a much bigger
Right.
wider area. But anyway, yeah, Pete messaged me about this great guitar player from Austin, and he wanted me to give him a listen. And he referred the guy to me via email, and he ended up sending me an advanced copy of his new CD. And before the CD arrived, I just went ahead and listened to him on Bandcamp, and I saw some clips on YouTube, and I was just blown away at what a great guitar player he is. His name is Gary Kane. Yes, another Gary. I didn't plan it this way, I swear. And his album, this is his third album. It's called Outside the Lines, which will be released on May 3rd. This is an advanced copy. And I'd say he's got a style that's influenced by Albert King, Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, a lot of the usual suspects. I can hear just a hint of AC/DC in his playing a little bit. But I also detect a bit of Eric Johnson and Robin Trower in places. So his music is pretty rooted in the blues, with a good mix of rock, funk, R&B. Some of the standouts on here: Ain't Got the Blues. That's the opener. Just great funky blues on that one. And then that goes into the hard rocking attitude. That's a real hard rocker about halfway through. And then he's got this jazzy blues shuffle called Blues Enough for You. And he just has this great instrumental, soaring sort of Eric Johnson sounding guitar on Far From Home. Like that one a lot. And he's got this, the closer is a real scorcher. It's called Keep On Walking. And that's the longest one on the album. It's 6:41. And it's got some just great Hendrix, Trower inspired soloing on it. He really cuts loose on this one. But that's Gary right there. He recorded this himself. He did all the instruments on it. You wouldn't know to hear it. I mean, it sounds like a band. It sounds pretty seamless. Not probably a little underproduced, but I think that's maybe to be expected. It's kind of a, like I said, it's kind of a self-done thing here. And I think for being a self-done thing, it's pretty damn good. but I'd say since it's not going to be available for about a month or so, and if this is something that would interest you, I'd recommend watching some live clips of him on YouTube or checking him out on Bandcamp. I found some great live clips of him, and he's good in the studio, but I think he sounds even better live. And I can only imagine what this guy would do in a studio with a really good producer and a full band in the studio. I think he'd be going places with that. But yeah, it's a pretty good album. I'd check it out.
Cool.
And what's your rating, buddy?
I would rate it right now. I'd rate it probably about I'm going to say about a 3.75. There's some songs on it I really like. There's a few in there that I'm not crazy about, but like I said, I think if I were to rate his live performance that I've seen, I'd go maybe more like 4.5 on that. So I think this guy's got real talent, and I think he's got a lot of potential here.
So production, maybe the reason why it might have lacked a little bit.
Yeah, I think the production, it could do with a little more production. And like I said, I like most of the songs. There's a couple on here that they're okay, but they're not blowing me away. But for most part,
you're intrigued to see what happens next with this fella.
Yeah, I would say definitely room to grow here, and it's his third album, so I mean it's not like he just got started, but obviously he's probably relatively unknown right now. But
yeah, that's cool. I like it when the review crew pushes those starving artists a little bit, puts them in the forefront.
Yeah, and I kind of wish he's been to some places I've been to in the past. He's played at some of the local venues that I'm familiar with, but I just don't get out as much as I used to.
None of us do.
Yeah, I used to know a lot of bands in town. There's just so many I don't know anymore.
Yeah, it's all that gray hair in our beard, man.
Tell me about it.
Indoors.
I'm glad that you're promoting some blues artists on this channel. That's awesome, too.
George.
All right. My second one is a band called Mirath. If you thought Lebanon was obscure, these guys are from Tunisia.
Couldn't point that out on a map.
How do you seek this out, brother? Do they send it for you for review or something? Is that why?
No, this is their sixth album. I've been into them since the first one, which was 2007. They've gone through chapters. The first two they started out life as a Symphony X tribute band in Tunisia.
Okay.
So the first two kind of sound like Symphony X, but with more of a jammy, like Dream Theater feel when they do like interludes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then they do an about face on the third, fourth, and fifth album. They streamline the songs. They get them all in that 4-minute range. They lean heavily into the ethnic sounds. They got a lot of strings, a lot of Alibaba and the 40 Thieves kind of strings, and like the singer, they got a new singer, and he was like a vocalist show guy over there, and his name is Zahir Zorgati. He's incredible. So they put the vocals out front more on those albums. So this is the sixth one. This is another shift for them. The last vestiges of prog are gone. This is a straight metal thing now. And even the symphonic element that they do so well has kind of been tamped down a little bit. It's still there, but not like it was. So instead, they've leaned more into this commercial hook chasing kind of aspects. The singer sounds as good as ever, and the production's a feature with these guys. You think small country, maybe small budget. Hell no. These records sound amazing. And this one is no exception. But me, as a fan of their older stuff, I'm having a little hard time with it because I can't unknow what they used to be and what I used to like,
Right.
I would concede that they do this really well, but the pop metal thing, it's pretty poppy. I mean, pop metal stylings are not really for me. So if you
Pop
don't have
metal of what decade?
Yeah, older. Older.
Not hair metal.
No. Just like a heavier band, but just very hooky with the choruses.
Like a power metal, brother?
No, it's not fast like that, but
Okay.
it's a straight metal band, but just very concentrating on choruses and
Okay.
hooks in the
Like
vocal.
AOR?
Yeah, like an AOR mixed with
Well,
metal.
that's what they're kind of doing too in the courses anyway. They're trying to get that accessibility, but yeah, I hear you.
So if you don't come with my background, this is 4 stars all day. But for me, I'm going to give it 3 stars because, it's not what I want out of them.
I
So
get
fair
it.
or not, it's just they do it well, but it ain't for me necessarily. It's the first one I don't think I'm going to buy.
As soon as I
Have you
heard the
done-
word pop, I was like, George is not going to like this, is he?
I'm upset, but like for instance, Stephen Reed digs it. So if you got that AOR gene in you, you
Right.
probably like it because it's really well done.
Have you done a ranking on this band in the past with Pete at all?
No, I don't
It's
know how
something
many.
something, dude. So what would you
That'll
offer
get 42 views.
if you would if you if you were to recommend a starting place the way you heard it? What album would be that be, buddy?
Uh, Depending on which side of them you like. If Symphony X kind of feel,
I like that band a lot.
then the first two are where it's at.
Okay.
If you don't mind more simpler songs, you don't want any whittling around, then the 3 through 5 are where it's at.
I see.
All right.
Cool.
I
All
don't know
right.
how many Pete's got, but we should do a ranking.
Yeah, well, it should. What do you got there, Jamie?
Well, first of all, I got a case of the singles.
Oh,
I always like the case of the singles. I'm an
I got shots for
anti-vaxxer.
that now.
Anti-vaxxer only when it comes to the case of the singles. I don't want the shingles. I get vaxxed for that, but don't vax me for the singles. These are new singles that came out. People featuring Joe Elliott by Ian Hunter. Hey, the dude's what, 192 right now, and he's doing music pretty damn good. We should just be happy he's out there putting out. This is part 2 of Defiance Part 2. Defiance Part 1 was pretty solid. I'll be getting Defiance Part 2. And he had all kinds of guest stars on the first one, so I'm sure I'll have guest stars on the second one. Legendary by Bon Jovi. Holy shit, is that bad? Oh my God, it's unlistenable. It's terrible. It's just downright terrible. The thing is, a lot of his albums, their albums, like in the early 2000s, the first single wasn't bad. It kind of rocked, and then the rest of the album sucked. Well, this sucks right from the get-go. Sheryl Crow, Digging in the Dirt, featuring Peter Gabriel cover. I dig it.
Right.
If you're watching this on Saturday, this album came out yesterday. It's called Evolution. Sheryl Crow's all right. I'm not a big fan, but I dig that. Humanoid by Accept. It's Accept. The last 5 albums are just Accept albums. You accept them for what they are.
the
The Border by Willie Nelson. Pretty good song. You hear his voice. What is he, 91? You can tell he's older, but it works in that song. Outlaw country type of feel. And Where the Light Fades by Paul Bearer. Holy shit, is that good. Paul Bearer is a doom metal outfit. Well, it used to be. This isn't metal. It's not doom metal. It's just like, well, they listed a bunch of bands that they're influenced by on the new album. And they said Marillion and Peter Gabriel. So you see the direction they're going. For my last quick review, Temple of the Fuzz Witch. Formed in Detroit, Michigan in 2017. They play a cult metal, doom metal, black metal. Release date April 5th. So next week. What do you get? This is their 3rd album. What do you get with this band? Right away in the first song, you get these big riffs, but then come the black metal vocals. So it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but if it is, black metal vocals are done well. Then White comes on, Wight, and they do, all of a sudden they're doing clean vocals in between the black metal vocals. And this album actually does, as it moves on, it gets more clean vocals as it goes on. And then Nephilim starts with more slow doom riffs and then kicks into this thrashy sound all of a sudden. So there are surprises on this album that come out of left field, just like the next song, Bow Down, where it starts with almost like a rocky, rolly kind of guitar riff. And then Sanguine continues with that. It's like a more upbeat doom metal song, and Cursed Cursed is almost like alt rock, alternative rock at times with clean vocals just about all the way through. Then it ends with 3 slower tracks, Raise, Apostate, and Ashes. Is this going to be in my top 10 for the year? Probably not. But if you want a good, solid, black and doom metal album, I would guess I would call it, then you can't go wrong with Temple of the Fuzzwitch. Report card songwriting. At first I said C+, I crossed it out and said B. Last second today, I said, nah, I'll give it a B. Production, B+. Musicianship, they're not doing too much, but they're doing the job. B. Vocals, B+. I like how he's going back and forth with the black. There's only 3 of them, so I'm guessing it's the same guy doing the extreme and clean vocals. But don't quote me on that. If it is, B+. But I get it. I totally get it. Temple of the Fuzzwitch. All these bands, they pull from the same bucket of words to form their band names. You got a lot of temples out there, you got fires out there. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to make your own random occult rock band name? So what I have here is I have noun 1, verb, preposition, article, noun 2. I have 5 buckets with random words in them. I'm going to pull out random words out of each bucket, put it up, and we're going to create our own occult rock metal band name. So let's just see how this goes real quick. I put a lot of time into this, guys. So the first one, demons. Pretty common. Demons are going to do what? They're going to boil. Demons boiling. I think we're on to something. Demons boiling for, oh shit, what are they boiling for?
Hell.
The temple. There's your temple.
Temple,
Boiling
yes.
for the temple. If anyone's out there and they got a rock band, right there, you want to do one more? Let's do one more. I got a lot of words in here.
How
so-
about just change it? Boiling demon for the temple.
Hey, witches. Hey, just like our last band. You can't change it once it's up on the board.
Okay,
It's
okay.
called random.
Yeah, we can randomly make the
Switch
rules.
it over after it's over. Witches bleeding from from what? Maybe it's the
Yeah,
time of
careful.
month. From and noun 2, I do not have vagina in there. Don't worry. From the sword, which is bleeding from the sword. So there you go. Oh, one more, to hell with it. Real quick. Death.
One for the road.
Boy, he
for the
put
road.
too much work in building this
Death
thing. You gotta give him.
Praying in the death praying in the I don't know. Death praying in the coffins. That rolls off the tongue. I like that one. Death praying in the coffins. Because death is in the coffins, and you can be
Sounds like
praying.
a lyric line.
Hey, that's a win. That's your winner. I'm glad I did one more. I could go on and on. I got a lot of words in there.
Oh, just so you know, when this is aired and it's become copyrighted for you, you have made it legal.
It's right here. It's on YouTube with the date it was uploaded. So if you steal this, I want some cash.
ASOT.
Right. All right, guys. This was really fun. Let me take us out of here. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. All together.
All the
damn
damn time.
time.
Click on the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell to be alerted of everything that we post as we post it. And please do hit the like button. That's easy to forget. We have a Ko-Fi link before, and we have a merch page. You can get yourself a really cool Sea of Tranquility hat like this one. And there's a Cameo page where you can pay Pete, and he will drive to your house and go to your kitchen and cook you a big Italian dinner right there in the kitchen. No, he will not do that, but he'll send you a video. So anyways, for Rick, for Scott, for George, and myself. I will see you on the next show in 2 weeks when we have a new crew and new reviews to review, new albums to review, I should say. Until then, have a good one, guys.
Take care, everyone.